Welcome to my zombie apocalypse shelter. Now I'm getting out some of my camping gear, playing around in the backyard. It's playing camping day. Gotta get your gear out. Gotta get it aired out. Gotta get it cleaned up. Gotta know what needs to be repaired. Get the smell out of it from the last time you used it, which for me was a while ago, so we're hoping to get out camping here. I'm loading a bong toke in my collapsible bong. Many of you got in the 420 goodie box. This is my very old one from many old camping trips. As you can see, it's Frankenstein together and leaking because it's busted and cracked and it's had dirt all smashed in it. I don't even have the right bowl for it. I use this tape. Poison. Getting a good hit there. Now that's a knife. I'll tell you why I have that. Yeah, there's a good reason why I have that. This is hot. And it's not going to melt my Gore-Tex bivvy. It's going over there. You always have a pretty good knife so you can split little pieces of wood to start fire and make feather sticks, and you want something that's not going to fold back on you. That's for camping. That's an old one too. It's been around for a while. I got that one. I know, thrift store, swap me, someplace cheap. I think I paid $5. And so I'll tell you about my camp here. Okay, I just use some tent pole things that I have from an old tent. Although if you were in the woods, you would cut down some little deadwood sticks and do this. You wouldn't necessarily hike all this crap into the woods, or you'd use your hiking stick and a bunch of pieces of wood, like you would cut down from dead wood, not living wood. And then you tie up, like this is a rain poncho, GI rain poncho, some kind of a tarp. Some kind of a tarp. Okay. Then underneath, you would do like your sleeping area, right? The reason why it's low, it keeps heat in, right? That's why you got little dome tents and stuff. It keeps the heat in. You got this front end up open, then you could have a fire in front of you and it would reflect the heat back at you. Many of us watch these survival shows, so we know all this. But, you don't have to spend a hell of a lot of money on camping gear. You can start out with really inexpensive stuff. And I would recommend hitting the Army Navy store, the thrift store, places like that to get your gear. That's where I got all mine. Okay. Except for things like my cook kit. This I actually went to a real camping store to get. Okay, so it's got a little, right, that's your fuel. It's got a little stove. It goes on top and you sit your pot on, the pot folds out. It isn't that fancy. So I did spend money on that. Oop. No one likes to wait for people to put things away. But things like these boots, thrift store. This down jacket, thrift store, $3. Okay, these nylon-y, no cotton. Do not wear cotton in the woods. It's death. It holds water in, and water keeps you cold and freezing at night, and you don't want that. You want to stay warm. Okay, so got these under roll things, under all things, thrift store. Okay, these go underneath your pants, and when you sleep in your sleeping bag to keep you warm. Okay, fleece, thrift store. See, you layer these things up for camp so you're comfy. There's some sporty thing, perfect for sleeping in and hiking in because it wicks away the sweat from you and dries very quickly. Thrift store. Plus orange, get lost in the woods, they can find you. Don't be blaring orange out too much though. Other campers don't appreciate all that too much. But emergency colors is where I have some kind of emergency colors. Okay, let's say you're hiking. You're gonna hike in and you don't do a lot of hiking. Okay, so things to know. You want, this is representational of a slippery sock, but you want some kind of cheap dollar low slippery sock, right? Dollar store sock. And you want a decent wool sock. Yes, wool. Because it breathes, okay? Even in the heat, it can help you. So you wear this inside the wool sock. So when you're walking, this is slipping back and forth like this, and you don't build up friction, and you don't get hot spots and blisters and end up having to, tenderfoot it back to your car, which I've had to do, and it's like bloody murder. You've got a 30-pound pack on, and you've got huge raw spots on the bottom of your feet, which you have used electrical tape to tape up and hike back to your car. It's not a place you want to be, so, take care of your feet and do the sock thing. It's worth it to go find the right socks. And to get boots that preferably are waterproof, because you'll probably step in the water or creek, and you don't want to hike around with wet feet. That will cause those sore spots I'm talking about. And you want ankle support if you're going to go over rocky terrain and stuff that's technical, where you have to sort of hop and skip over rocks and creek and stuff, because you're going to be doing this, and your ankle needs that support, right? You don't want to twist an ankle. Okay, so the other kind of stuff you need is, it's good to have wrist warmers for the evening. If for the ladies, this covers this part where there's main veins and you're losing heat. Plus it makes a seal under your clothing. It keeps the heat from coming out, because it'll come out here, and it'll come out here at the top of your head and out of your mouth. When you're sleeping in the ground sucks the heat away from your body. So these are all things you want to avoid. So, these little things can help you have a better sleep, a more comfortable time. Here's a wool beanie I got at the thrift store. Sleeping with this keeps the heat from coming out the top of your head while you're cuddled in your sleeping bag. When you're around the fire and you're drinking hot chocolate, this keeps you from losing heat out the top of your head, so you're retaining that heat. You're wearing your layers, you've got your comfy. When you're in camp, you're not wearing these shoes. You're wearing something like these, right? And these are good for creek crossing, because if you kick a rock in a cold-ass creek, it's going to really hurt. Also, another good one to wear is those ugly Crocs. They're super light and spongy and really super tough, and they make great camp shoes. And after you've been hiking and you're tired, taking these off and putting on some camp shoes is like, we want that. Okay. Some people don't do a tent. Some people don't do a tarp. Some people do, tarp on the ground. They do a tarp and a hammock, right? You can do that. But remember, your butt hangs low, wind hits your butt, you get cold at night. So you want to have either a sleeping pad or an underquilt, or wrap a blanket around the outside of it or something to keep that wind from hitting your butt and keeping you cold, but a hammock can be an extremely comfortable way to sleep at night if you have access to good trees. And we kind of have a problem with that actually here. Let's see. Bug net. Ugly, stupid, will save you from buggy areas near creeks and stuff in the evening when the bugs start moving in and everyone else is hiding in their tent. You can have this on and be much happier. You'll look stupid, and you need a hat, like a brimmed hat, to make it stick out away from your face, but it makes a big difference. You can at least be around the camp doing stuff instead of hiding in your tent with mosquitoes or whatever, if you were in that kind of an area. I got it more for the baby, but I've used it. I've had to use it. Some places you could see the bugs, coming in, like as the sun hits, they're moving away like a line. It's crazy because they're so thick. Okay, so cheap camping food. This stuff's great. You can eat this dry. You can cook this into a meal. It's super lightweight, and it's fun. It's carbohydrates and stuff. Okay, alcohol. You can take alcohol, but it's heavy. Remember, ounces turn to pounds. This, plus this, plus this, plus this, and suddenly, no, not a pleasant trip. So yes, you can bring this, maybe not in this heavy flask, maybe something in more like a platypus bag, a small one. But really, when you weigh this against like this and your weed is way lighter. In my opinion, I would rather take this instead of that. Okay, so what else? Make sure you have a sleeping bag, sleeping pad, some kind of pad. They have foam pads. This is a quarter pad that only covers your butt and shoulders. This is an extremely strange and small pad. Platypus bag. Need a good water container. You don't want to make several trips to the water source with this. You need a way to purify water. Cookie kit. Boiling water purifies it, right? You can just buy a pump or something to pump the water directly out of the creek so you can drink it after. And here I have, for the summer, I have a blanket that's a down quilt, right? Like a throw. And I folded it in half, and I sewed a foot box in the bottom, which means I just sewed a little bit at the bottom. And this is my sleeping bag, right? And you put this inside this military Gore-Tex bivvy, and that makes a really nice, this in itself could be a tent, but I'm not into that. So I use this and this as a combination for my sleeping system, at least in this setup. I have so many different backpacks and setups, and I haven't been camping in so long. It's like, this is me jonesing for the camping experience. But anyway, you too can camp and do stuff like this. It's not hard. See here, I've set this up in my backyard. And I mean, this is a very teeny backyard. You would not sit in this spot for anything in the world. But once you do this, you make a really nice little microclimate that keeps you out of the sun. It keeps you out of the wind. And even though it seems like it wouldn't be a warm spot, it is once you do this. Once you set this up the correct way. You could do this for a day hike with your girlfriend and just set up a little personal spot and kick back and make a video and, like cook one of these top ramens. There's lots of these bushcraft guys, and that's all that they do in their videos is they hike someplace for the day. They sit down with a little alcohol stove and they do an alcohol stove test, and that's their whole video. I've done plenty of videos like that. So, this is a way for you to kind of play around with gear and do it cheap and get into the idea of camping.